Wonder Class, and welcome to our maths lesson on Tuesday the 26th of January 2021. So starting us off for today's lesson, we are going to have a go at carrying out arithmetic. So I'm going to read the questions to you, and then you can have a pause of the screen. Remember to get your timer out or your online timer, time yourself and see how long you can complete your arithmetic in. First question, number 1, 9 times 5. Number 2, 24 times 6. Number 3, what is 670 as a Roman numeral? Number 4, what number is next in the sequence? 75, 125, 175. Number 5, 3 times 6. Number 6, 72 divided by 9. Number 7, half of 400. Number 8, 4,353, add 2,110. Number 9, 2,387 minus 1,237. And finally, number 10 is 108 divided by 12. So remember, at this point, pause the screen because the next slide will then reveal the answers. Okay, great. So let's have a look at the answers for your arithmetic. So number 1 was the answer equals 45. Number 2 is 144. Number 3 as a Roman numeral is DCLXX. Number 4, 225. Number 5 equals 18. Number 6 equals 8. Number 7 equals 200. Number 8 equals 6,463. Number 9 equals 1,150. And number 10 equals 9. So let's have a look what we're learning about today. Today we are moving on to fractions. So our learning objective is, can I explain what a unit and non-unit fraction is? This is going to be fun because it means you have to jog your memory. Have a think back to year 2. What can you remember about fractions? Now year 2, I think I taught some of you in year 2 and we definitely learned about fractions. We often talk about fractions as well in understanding that how a fraction works. So sometimes I do use a piece of paper to show us this is a whole, and if I split it in half, I have now got 2 halves, which would make 1/2. I will expand on that a little bit more as we go, and I often talk about folding it again makes us have 4 quarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So a quarter is each of these, and 4 quarters make up 1 whole. So what can we remember about fractions? So the amount that we are looking at is the numerator. There are 4 counters in total. The total amount is our denominator. So as you can see here, we've got 1 quarter. So if I have my piece of paper, this little square rectangle piece here is my quarter. So I've got 1 quarter, 2 quarters, 3 quarters, 4 quarters, which makes a whole. So here's my 1 quarter. And we call let's just go to this one. So 3 out of 4 are red. So there are 4 counters, which is why 4 is at the bottom. And 3 out of the 4 are red. Sorry. There are 4 counters and 3 out of the 4 are red. So when our numerator is greater than 1 and the denominator is a whole number, we call it a non-unit fraction. So a fraction where the numerator, so this is our numerator, the numerator is at the top, our numerator is bigger than 1, we call that a non-unit fraction. And this here is called a unit fraction because we have 4 counters, one of them is green, but the denominator is 4 and the numerator is 1. So just because I think I confused us a little bit, let me just show you what I mean. So let's take, for example, my fraction was 1 over 4. This is my numerator. I'm just going to call it a numerator, NUM. And this is my denominator. But this is called a unit fraction. A unit fraction has 1 as its numerator, so it's called a unit fraction. Okay, now if I have another fraction where I might have, let's think, 4 over 5, or maybe 4, yeah, 4 over 5. So I'm going to do 4 over 5. There's my fraction. This is my numerator, this is my denominator, but this is called a non-unit fraction. The reason this is called a non-unit fraction is because my numerator is larger than 1. So if my numerator is 1, it's called a unit fraction. But if my numerator is larger than 1, it's called a non-unit fraction. So let's have a look here. It says write fractions to complete the sentence. So how many of the counters are yellow? So 1 out of 3. So what I would write here would be 1 over 3. So 1 out of 3 of the counters are yellow. And how many of the counters are red? So 2 counters out of 3 are red. So 2 out of 3. So here you can see one out of 3, or 1/3 of the counters are yellow. This is called a unit fraction because it starts with the number 1. And on B, 2 out of 3, so 2/3 of the counters are red. This is called a non-unit fraction. So the question underneath says, which of these is a non-unit fraction? B is a non-unit fraction because the number 2 is bigger than the number 1, which therefore makes it a non-unit fraction. So it says, this is your turn. Here you can have a pause of the screen and have a go yourself. It says, write fractions to complete the sentences. So the first thing I would need to do is find out how many cubes we have all together. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 cubes. And how many are green out of the 6? So we've got 3 out of 6. So the fraction here would be 3 out of 6. 3 out of 6 is green. Now let's look at the yellow. We've got 6 cubes and 2 are yellow. So it would be 2 out of 6. So 2/6 of the tower is yellow. And finally on C, we have how many are blue? We've got 6 cubes and 1 is blue. So it will be 1 out of 6. Let's see if you can have a think. Which one, I'm going to test you, is a non-unit fraction? Which one is a non-unit fraction? Hopefully you've said, Miss Shah, it's not which one, it's which 2 are non-unit fractions, because we've got 2 non-unit fractions here. We've got 3/6 of the tower is green and 2/6 of the tower is yellow. They are both non-unit fractions, and we only have 1 unit fraction, which is 1/6 of the tower is blue, because 1 is at the top, which is our numerator number 1, which makes it a unit fraction. So here it has a little challenge for you. What is a unit fraction and what is a non-unit fraction? You can write 2 examples if you would like to. B, it says complete the sentences. An example of a unit fraction is, the numerator is always, an example of a non-unit fraction is, and the numerator is always greater than. So I'm going to give you a few seconds. You can remember to pause the video in case that's not enough time, and I will go through that with you. Great, so have a go at defining this. Maybe you could write it down and post that onto the Tapestry. Give me an example of a unit fraction. I'm going to give you my example of a unit fraction. I'm going to do 1 over 4. So 1 over 4 is a quarter. This is an example of a unit fraction because the numerator, which is the top number, is always 1. Then if I have a look at an example of a non-unit fraction, I might do 8 over 10, so 8/10, and the numerator is always greater than 1. So what fraction of each shape is shaded? I want you to have a go, pause the screen and have a go. I'm going to reveal the answers to you and how I worked them out. So I had a look and I saw that I have, in total, I need to find what my denominator number is, so my bottom number. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I know it's out of 5. So how many is shaded out of 5? It's 1 out of 5. So 1/5 of my shape is shaded. And here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 again in total. How many is shaded is 3. So 3/5 of my shape is shaded. Let's have a look down here. How many pieces do we have to find our denominator? So we've got 3 pieces, 1, 2, 3. How many are shaded is 1. So 1/3 of the circle is shaded. Again, we've got 3 pieces here. So we're working it out over how many pieces. And 2 of those pieces are shaded. So it's 2/3. So 2/3 of my circle is shaded. So it's now your turn. Have a go. Pause the screen. Have a go at writing down your answers. And I will also reveal them to you as well. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I know it's out of 6. How many are shaded? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4/6 of my shape is shaded. And over here we've got 6 again, as it's the same shape. And how many have we got shaded? That's 1. So 1/6 of the shape is shaded. Now if we look again, this one here is a unit fraction. I'm just using this as a way to remind ourselves of what that is. Because it's a unit fraction because the number at the top is 1. This over here is a non-unit fraction because the number at the top over here is actually 4. Over here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces and 1 is shaded. So here we have 1/4 of our triangle is shaded. And let's have a look. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces. And how many are shaded? Only 2. So that's 2/4 of the triangle are shaded. Again, over here is my unit fraction, and over here is my non-unit fraction. So if I pause the screen here, I will just read to you what your activities are for today. So the first question for you guys to work out is color 1/5 of each shape. That's question A. Question B is color 3/5 of each shape. And what is the same and what is different about your answers? And number 2, circle 1/3 of the counters. And B is circle 2/3 of the counters. What is the same and what is different about your answers? And finally, write the fractions in the table. So which one is unit fractions and which are non-unit fractions. You can also use your own examples as well. So think carefully. Remember what we've been learning about today. A unit fraction has 1 as its numerator, and a non-unit fraction has anything but the number 1 as its numerator. So that should be a bit of help for you guys to do that. Remember, your extension will be to add your own in each column. You could always do that in a different color so I can see that you've used your own examples as well. That's all from me today. I hope you enjoy your activities and really take in this learning, as we're going to be doing fractions, I believe, for the rest of the week. Thank you, everybody, and see you in the next lesson. Bye.